Level 1, The Runner. You're 16 years old in Little Italy, Manhattan. The year is 1923. Your father died in a factory accident when you were 12. No workers' compensation, no life insurance. Just a funeral bill your mother couldn't afford. She cleans houses for rich families uptown, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. She makes $11 a week. Your rent is $8 a month. You do the math. There's no money for school. There's barely money for food. You're standing on a corner outside Ferrara's bakery when a man in an expensive suit approaches you. His name is Tony. Everyone in the neighborhood knows Tony. He works for the Genovese family. He hands you a brown paper package and an address 3 blocks away. He says, "Deliver this. Don't look inside. Come back. I'll give you $2. $2 is what your mother makes in 2 days of scrubbing floors. You take the package. You walk 3 blocks. You knock on a door. A man opens it, takes the package, says nothing. You walk back. Tony hands you $2. You just became a runner. You do 5 deliveries that week, $10 total. You give 8 to your mother, you keep 2. For the first time in your life, you have money in your pocket. You don't ask what's in the packages, you already know, booze. Illegal since 1920 when Prohibition started. The whole country voted to ban alcohol, and the only people who got rich were the people willing to break the law. You run packages for 6 months, then Tony gives you a new job. You're not just delivering anymore, you're collecting. You walk into speakeasies, underground bars that sell illegal alcohol. You tell the owner that Mr. Genovese requires his weekly payment, protection money. The owner hands you an envelope with cash. You don't count it. That's not your job. Your job is to bring it back. One owner refuses to pay. Says he already paid protection to another family. Says he's not paying twice. You go back to Tony. Tony goes to the owner with 3 other men. You watch from across the street. They beat the owner with baseball bats in broad daylight. Nobody calls the police. The police are on the Genovese payroll. The owner pays the next week. You learn the first rule of this life. Fear is more valuable than respect. Level 2, The Associate. You're 18 now. You've proven yourself. You're reliable. You show up on time. You don't ask questions. You don't steal from the packages. You don't talk to cops. Tony introduces you to his boss, a caporegime named Salvatore. Everyone calls him Sally Knuckles because of what he does to people who cross him. Sally gives you a new job. You're working at a warehouse in Brooklyn. Officially, it's an olive oil import company. Unofficially, it's where the family stores bootleg whiskey smuggled in from Canada. Thousands of bottles, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your job is inventory. You count bottles, you load trucks, you guard the warehouse at night with 2 other associates. You're making $30 a week now. You move your mother out of the tenement into a better apartment, 3 rooms instead of 1. She cries when she sees it. She thinks you got a real job. You don't correct her. You can't tell her the truth, that you're working for the same people who killed your uncle in a territory dispute 5 years ago. That the money paying for this apartment is soaked in blood. One night, federal agents raid the warehouse. Prohibition agents. They've got badges and guns and a warrant. You and the other associates run. One guy gets caught. He's looking at 5 years in federal prison. The family sends a lawyer. The best lawyer illegal money can buy. The case gets thrown out on a technicality. The associate keeps his mouth shut. He gets rewarded. $10,000 in a promotion. You learn the second rule. Loyalty to the family is rewarded. Disloyalty is punished with death. Level 3, The Soldier. You're 21. You've been with the family for 5 years. You've never stolen. You've never snitched. You've never shown weakness. Sally Knuckles calls you into his office. He says the family wants to make you a soldier, a made man. But first you have to do something. You have to make your bones. That's their term for committing your first murder. You have to kill someone to prove you're serious, to prove you're willing to cross the line that civilians can't cross, to prove you're one of them. The target is a man named Rocco. He's been skimming money from the gambling operations, stealing from the family. The punishment is death. They give you a gun, a .38 revolver. They tell you where Rocco will be, a restaurant in the Bronx. They tell you to walk in, shoot him twice in the head, and walk out. Simple. You wait outside the restaurant for 2 hours. Your hands are shaking. You've never killed anyone. You've seen people killed. You've helped dispose of bodies, but you've never pulled the trigger yourself. Rocco walks out. He's laughing. He's with his wife. She's pregnant. You think about walking away. You think about running. But you know what happens to people who refuse. They end up in the river with their throats cut. You pull the gun, you shoot Rocco twice. Once in the chest. Once in the head. His wife screams. You run. You throw the gun in a storm drain 3 blocks away. You go to a bar and drink until you can't remember her screaming. 2 weeks later, there's a ceremony. It's in the back room of a social club in Little Italy. 10 made men are there. Sally Knuckles pricks your finger with a needle. He puts a picture of a saint in your hand. He lights it on fire. You hold the burning picture while reciting an oath. You swear loyalty to the family above all else. Above your mother, above your wife, above God himself. The picture burns your hand. You don't drop it. You let it burn to ash. You're a made man now, a soldier in the Genovese crime family. You can't be killed without permission from the boss. You get a piece of every racket you work on. Gambling, bootlegging, loan sharking, labor racketeering. You're making $200 a week. That's more than a doctor makes, more than a lawyer makes, more than anyone in your neighborhood makes legally. But you also know the third rule. Once you're in, you can never get out. This is a lifetime commitment. The only retirement plan is a bullet or a prison cell. Level 4. The Enforcer. You're 25. You've killed 3 more men since becoming a soldier. One was a stool pigeon who talked to federal agents. One was a rival family member who tried to move into Genovese territory. One was a civilian who assaulted the daughter of a made man. You don't feel anything anymore when you pull the trigger. It's just business. You're good at it. You're fast. You're calm. You don't panic. Sally Knuckles notices. He makes you an enforcer. Your job is to handle problems. A speakeasy owner refuses to pay protection. You break his legs. A union leader refuses to cooperate with family interests. You burn down his house. A politician accepts bribes but doesn't deliver on promises. You show him photos of his mistress and explain what will happen if he doesn't cooperate. You carry a gun everywhere. A .45 automatic tucked in your waistband. You've used it 11 times now. You've beaten men unconscious with your fists 17 times. You've broken bones, burned businesses, and terrorized witnesses into silence. You're 25 years old, and you're one of the most feared men in New York City. But the fear goes both ways. You're paranoid constantly. Every car that follows you might be cops. Every stranger who looks at you too long might be a hitman from a rival family. You sleep with the gun under your pillow. You never sit with your back to a door. You never eat food you didn't watch being prepared. Your mother died last year. Heart attack. The doctor said it was natural causes, but you know better. The stress killed her. The stress of wondering what her son really did for a living. The stress of seeing you come home with blood on your clothes. The stress of loving a monster. You didn't cry at her funeral. You can't afford to show weakness. Weakness gets you killed in this life. Level 5. The Capo. You're 30 years old. Sally Knuckles got killed in a territory war with the Luciano family, shot 14 times outside a restaurant in Brooklyn. The boss promotes you to caporegime. You run your own crew now, 8 soldiers, 20 associates. You control 6 speakeasies, 4 gambling dens, 3 brothels, and a protection racket that covers 40 square blocks of Manhattan. You're making $3,000 a week. You own a house in Brooklyn, a car, a Cadillac. You wear tailored suits that cost more than your father made in a year. You eat at the best restaurants. You have a wife and 2 kids who think you're a successful businessman. You have a mistress in an apartment in Midtown who knows exactly what you are and doesn't care as long as the money keeps coming. You sit in a social club every day from noon to 6 p.m. People come to you with problems. A loan shark needs muscle to collect a debt. A union boss needs help intimidating workers who won't join. A politician needs campaign funds and doesn't ask where the money comes from. You solve problems. You make deals. You allocate resources. You're not just a gangster anymore. You're a manager, a executive in a criminal corporation. But management means making decisions that get people killed. One of your soldiers gets arrested. He's looking at 20 years. He hints that he might cooperate with prosecutors. You have to make a decision. You've known this guy for 8 years. He was at your wedding. His kids play with your kids. But the rules are clear. Snitches get killed. No exceptions. You order the hit. 2 of your men take him to a warehouse in New Jersey. They shoot him in the back of the head. They bury him in the woods. His family reports him missing. The police investigate. The case goes cold. You attend his funeral. You hug his widow. You hand her an envelope with $500. You tell her your friend was a good man. You go home and drink until you pass out. You learn the fourth rule. The higher you climb, the more blood is on your hands, and none of it washes off. Level 6. The consigliere. You're 38. You've survived 2 gang wars, 3 federal investigations, and countless attempts on your life. The boss, Don Vito Genovese, makes you consigliere, counselor. You're his most trusted advisor. You sit in on every major decision. You mediate disputes between capos. You negotiate with other families. You're the bridge between the street soldiers and the upper management. You don't carry a gun anymore. You don't need to. You've got 50 made men who would kill on your word. You don't beat people up. You have people do it for you. You don't rob or steal or run day-to-day operations. You strategize. You plan. You think 3 moves ahead while everyone else is thinking about tomorrow. Level 7, the underboss. Don Vito is getting old. He's 62. He survived 4 decades in this life, which is a miracle. Most bosses die young, shot by rivals, betrayed by ambitious subordinates, arrested and sentenced to life in prison. But Don Vito is careful. He's smart, he's ruthless, and he trusts you. He makes you underboss. Second in command of the entire Genovese crime family. You oversee 6 capos, 60 soldiers, 300 associates. You control criminal operations across New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. Your organization generates $15 million a year. That's in 1932 dollars, equivalent to hundreds of millions today. You don't live in the neighborhood anymore. You live in a mansion in Westchester. Servants, guards, a 10-car garage. Your neighbors are doctors, lawyers, business executives. They have no idea who you really are. Your wife hosts charity fundraisers. Your kids go to elite private schools. You donate to churches and hospitals. You're laundering your reputation the same way you launder money. But the violence never stops. A rival family tries to muscle in on your territory. You respond with overwhelming force. 12 men are killed in 2 weeks. 3 of them are yours. 9 are theirs. The newspapers call it the Mafia War of 1934. The public is horrified. Politicians demand action. Federal prosecutors open investigations. You have to make people disappear. Witnesses, informants, soldiers who know too much. Bodies end up in rivers, in car trunks, in shallow graves in the Pine Barrens. You order these deaths from your office while smoking a cigar and reading the Wall Street Journal. You've become what you once feared, a man who kills with a phone call. Your son finds out what you really do. He's 18. He's smart. He's been asking questions. One night he confronts you. He calls you a murderer. He says he's ashamed to be your son. You try to explain. You try to tell him you did this for the family, to give him opportunities you never had. He doesn't want to hear it. He leaves. You don't see him again for 7 years. You learn the 5th rule. Power isolates you from everyone you love. The higher you climb, the more alone you become. Level 8, the boss. Don Vito dies in his sleep. Natural causes. He's 71 years old, one of the few bosses in history to die of old age. The commission, the board of directors for the 5 families, meets to choose his successor. They choose you. You're now the boss of the Genovese crime family, one of the 5 most powerful criminals in America. You control everything. Every racket, every soldier, every decision. Hundreds of men swear loyalty to you. Thousands of people depend on your organization for their livelihood. Corrupt cops, judges, politicians, union leaders, businessmen. You've built an empire in the shadows. But being boss makes you a target. The FBI has a file on you 3 inches thick. They're investigating your taxes, your businesses, your associations. They tap your phones. They follow you. They pressure your associates to flip. Every day could be the day they build a case strong enough to put you away for life. Other families are a threat too. Some of your capos are ambitious. They see your power and they want it. You have to constantly watch for betrayal. You have to approve every major move, every hit, every deal. Any decision made without your approval is a sign of disrespect, and disrespect leads to coups. You order the death of one of your own capos. He was planning to kill you and take over. You found out. You invited him to dinner. He thought he was being promoted. Instead, your men shot him 9 times in the parking lot. You had known him for 25 years. You were the best man at his wedding. Business is business. You're 50 years old. You've been in this life for 34 years. You've killed or ordered the killing of 47 men. You've stolen millions of dollars. You've corrupted police departments, influenced elections, and controlled entire industries through intimidation and violence. You're one of the most powerful men in New York City, and nobody knows your name. But you're tired. You're so tired. You don't sleep well anymore. You have nightmares. You see the faces of men you killed. You hear your mother's voice asking what happened to her son. You look in the mirror, and you don't recognize the man looking back. Level 9, the informant. You're 53. The FBI finally builds their case. Tax evasion, racketeering, murder conspiracy. They have wiretaps. They have witnesses. They have paper trails. They arrest you at your home in front of your wife and daughter. They put you in handcuffs. They read you your rights. They take you to federal detention. Your lawyer says you're looking at life in prison. Maybe the death penalty. The prosecutor offers a deal. Testify against the other families. Give them everything you know. Every murder. Every racket. Every corrupt official. In exchange, witness protection. A new identity. Your freedom. You think about it for 6 months in a cell. You think about the oath you took 33 years ago. You think about the 47 men you killed. You think about your grandson who you've never met because your son won't let you near his family. You think about dying in prison. Alone. Forgotten. You take the deal. You become a rat. The thing you killed other men for being. You testify in front of grand juries. You give depositions. You provide evidence that sends 23 men to prison. Men you worked with. Men you broke bread with. Men who trusted you. The families put a $500,000 bounty on your head. Every hitman in America is looking for you. The FBI moves you to a safe house in the Midwest. They give you a new name, a new social security number, a new life. Level 10, the ghost. You're 68 years old. You live in a small town in Kansas. Population 4,000. You work at a hardware store. You rent a one-bedroom apartment. You have no friends, no family, no history. Your name is Robert Miller now. Nobody knows you used to be a boss in the Genovese crime family. Nobody knows you killed 47 men. Nobody knows anything about you. You watch the news sometimes. You see stories about the Mafia. Most of the families are gone now. The FBI destroyed them. The ones who survived went legitimate or got absorbed into other organizations. The golden age is over. Prohibition ended in 1933. The endless money dried up. The families adapted, but they never recovered the power they had in the 20s and 30s. You're alone with your memories, the men you killed, the lives you destroyed, the family you lost. Your wife divorced you while you were in witness protection. Your kids changed their names. Your grandchildren don't know you exist. You're a ghost, a man erased from history. You think about the 16-year-old kid standing on a corner in Little Italy, the kid who just wanted to help his mother pay rent. You wonder when that kid died. Was it the first time you killed someone? Was it the first time you ordered someone killed? Was it the moment you took the oath and burned the picture of the saint? You don't know. You just know he's gone. Replaced by an old man in Kansas who works at a hardware store and waits to die. Somewhere in New York, in Little Italy, a kid is standing on a corner. He's poor. He's desperate. He's looking for a way out. A man in an expensive suit is walking toward him. The man has a brown paper package and a simple offer. $2 for a delivery, no questions asked. The kid takes the package. The cycle begins again. It always does. The names change, the faces change, but the story is always the same. A kid thinks he's found a shortcut to the American dream. By the time he realizes it's a trap, it's too late. He's already killed for them. He's already sworn the oath. He's already crossed the line that can never be uncrossed. You're living proof that there's no winning in this life. You either die young and violent, or you live long enough to betray everything you believed in. Either way, you end up alone. Either way, you end up a ghost. The Mafia isn't about honor or loyalty or family. Those are the lies they tell to recruit kids like you used to be. The truth is simpler and darker. It's about money and power and the men willing to kill for both. Everything else is a story they tell to make the killing easier. You turn off the news. You make yourself dinner. Spaghetti. Your mother's recipe. The only thing you have left from your old life. You eat alone in your small apartment in Kansas. Tomorrow you'll go to work at the hardware store. Next week you'll do the same. Next year you'll do the same. Until one day your heart stops or a hitman finally finds you. Either way, it ends the same. In silence, in solitude, in a grave with a name that isn't yours. That's the final level. The ghost. The man who gave up everything and gained nothing. The man who learned too late that the American dream and the American nightmare are sometimes the same thing. You just have to be willing to kill for it, and then spend the rest of your life wishing you hadn't.